Thank you for having this hearing on a problem that really has been longstanding. Dr. Schumann, you referred to the shortages of propofol 15 years ago. I was absolutely astonished in visiting some of our hospitals 12, 15 years ago to discover the shortage of anesthetics like that one. So this problem has been around for a long time in the greatest country in the history of the world capable of providing the greatest health care on the planet. We seem to be unable to provide enough of these basic medicines, anesthetics. You know, this is not kind of the advanced care, cancer treatment that no doubt you're using in the course of your oncology practice. This is what the workhorse medicines. Why is it that anesthetics are in short supply? Are they still now? Should ask that question first. And why was it then and why is it now, if it's still the case?
Thank you for that question, and I agree completely. The problem here is many of these sterile injectable drugs are frankly very complicated to make, and when companies are making pennies on the dollar per unit, it's very hard to incentivize their production for many of the reasons that have been brought up earlier. The issue with propofol 15 years ago was that there were contaminants within the drug. It was a mold and glass shards, I believe, were in the medication, which, again, you don't need to know much to know is a problem. That became another problem yet again during the early COVID pandemic when we were struggling to keep people on ventilators comfortable for exactly that reason. So the broader problem here involves generic sterile injectables and the complexity of their production and the lack of sufficient incentive for companies to be able to make them, especially onshore.
Is there still a shortage of anesthetics?
Yes. A number of different drugs, and I believe Dr. Fox can add more details to that, but the short answer is yes.
But presumably the contaminant issue has been resolved. Is it still the very tiny margins of profit that are a disincentive to these companies to make this workhorse medicine?
Short answer is yes. The process of making these is also quite complicated in terms of the facilities that are utilized. For example, propofol is in a lipid solution, which just is much more at risk for contamination than many others, but I'll defer to Dr. Fox and others for more details.
And I know you're an oncologist, not an economist, so I'll ask the question first and then turn to others who can speak on the economics, but I suspect, just as a lawyer and non-economist, non-doctor, something wrong here when anesthetics, workhorse medicine needed by every single hospital in the country, somehow are not responding to demand signals, or the demand signals aren't working. Why is it that we're not seeing more production? The capitalist system, and we all believe in capitalism. I am a strong supporter of capitalism. But in this situation, why isn't it working? I'll take the table first and then work.
Suppose I tell you as a manufacturer, if you pay me $1 more, I'll overinvest in capacity and we won't have any shortages and I'll meet your demand. I, under the current rules, cannot do that. I can only compete on price. And if you can only compete on price, it's a race to the bottom on everything else, including reliability of supply. It's that simple.
To take Senator Paul's analogy, bread. Someone's going to produce more bread if there's more demand. The price will rise, and the demand will be met.
But suppose the grocery store owner, like the pharmacist, is compelled to sell you the lowest price bread that comes his way, then the quality of bread would go through the floor. And that's what's happening here. It's not the quality, it's the reliability, safety.
But these are all reliable, safe anesthetics. They're not selling
No, but
snake oil.
the manufacturing process is not reliable. Compare that to brand name drugs.
Someone would make a more reliable process. If you're, to take a different analogy, if you're in a company that puts satellites in space and they don't make it into space, they're not reliable, you're not going to get paid. A product that can't be delivered will not be relied on, and they'll turn to another manufacturer. I don't understand.
The FDA does not allow me to charge you a little bit more for reliable supply. It forces me to compete only on price. If I'm competing only on price, then sometimes I'm going to run out of product or won't be able to meet demand. But that's the only way I can compete. So
You're blaming it on the FDA.
yes.
Okay, let's take the next.
Sure. So, unlike an iPhone or anything else we buy at Walmart, we don't have the information about how good is the quality. We don't have a rating system. We have no way to differentiate between the products. And your example about the anesthetics, they are still in short supply, in part because there are usually only 1 or 2 companies making those drugs. And also, there's really no incentive for one company to do a better job. If one company did do a better job, we have no way of knowing that. Unlike other things we buy, we have no rating system and no way to do that. And I'll tell you, unlike other products, people's lives are at stake. It's not just a matter of maybe not buying peanut butter today or not buying a tire. It's, having to decide to use a lower quality product or a product that we know won't work as well just because we don't have the access to it in our hospital.
Well, I am out of time, but I am also, so far, unsatisfied that we have really identified what the actionable policy should be here. And I can't blame it all on the FDA. I'm sorry. There have to be other reasons, and I think Dr. Schumer suggests in his testimony, whether it's bringing some of the supply chain back to this country, producing more here, I don't think that you can just blame it on the FDA. Thank you.